I met a Gypsy.
When you say you went all in on fitness over skill, essentially, I've seen you like post about this and talk about this. So your theory is that you are better off having more fitness than skill as a motocross racer?
That's
Let's clickbait some people on the internet right now.
yeah, fitness or technique, right? That was the thing that I talked about. And I genuinely feel like, okay, technique is like you have to have the fundamentals to be a safe and fast and effective dirt bike rider. Like for sure you have to have good
there's
technique.
like a floor that needs to be met.
Yeah. That's going to help. That's going to unlock the speed, right, in a safe manner, because you in order to be fast, you have to keep building day after day, like that consistency. But I think when you get to the pro level, it's different as a vet guy. And that's one thing I've learned coaching. Like, you can't just do a cookie cutter plan because you have a vet guy, you have a GNCC, flat track, snow cross. Like, there's all these different variables. You know, someone fast twitch, maybe someone's a little bit slower and endurance is their strength. But I think for me at the pro level, top 15 wise, technique is pretty similar. You know, like if you look at, let's say, 450 Supercross practice, the top 15 are probably within 2 seconds, right? But there's a huge variance of fitness level there, you know. And for me, I think just simply, okay, the fitter I am, I'm not going to get tired as fast. It's going to reduce the injury risk, you know. So for me, I guess I just really placed emphasis on fitness just because I didn't want to fade, you know, and I didn't want to get hurt.
And so when did you make that call in your career? And when did it start to pay dividends? When did you see it work for you?
Probably my third year, I would say. I actually trained with Rhino in 2010 for a little bit and actually learned a lot there. But then in 2011, honestly, I really got into like running. I started running a lot. I was doing probably 30 to 50 miles a week, like in season, you know, like Monday.
30 to 50 miles a week?
Yeah. Yep, and dude, and that was this. Okay, don't judge me on this, but that was like during the Born to Run, the barefoot shoes. I was doing all those miles in like the barefoot shoes, essentially barefoot.
Okay, let's just sidebar there. Did that help? Is it good for you? Did you feel anything?
In retrospect, that was just a fad. Yeah, I don't run in barefoot shoes. I think that it kind of led to some knee injuries potentially down the road.
Yeah.
But dude, I will say, like, I think it actually does help running economy, like running barefoot. Occasionally, I don't think you should do 50 miles a week barefoot, but
you're such a psycho. I love that, dude.
But yeah, like literally, I remember my first podium in Southwick. That was like a breakout ride for me. 2011, 11:10 mods, went 10:3, got led for a good 15 minutes, I think, at the second moto, and then ended up third. But I remember that week because on Monday we were riding at a sand track. Actually, you might have even been to this sand track in Minnesota. Jeremy and I were at.
Yeah.
You might have filmed there.
Yeah.
So my bike blew up on Monday, and I was so pissed. So I went home and did a 10-mile run.
Yeah.
Tuesday, woke up, another 10-mile run. Wednesday, another 10-mile run. So I did like 30 miles in 3 days, and then went out and podium that weekend.
Wow.
But yeah, so I was doing a lot of 10, 12-mile runs that summer.
You could feel your fitness late in that moto. Like, how did that moto play out?
I mean, other than kind of the oh shit moment, like I'm leading a national for the first time in my life, I just think that like the more I'm a cardio guy, maybe. I do think strength is good, especially as you get older. Like you have to do strength training, but I think like with cardio, I look at it like the more you can train your heart and your lungs, right? The stronger you can get those, the more they're going to pump blood to the rest of your body. It's plain and simple. So I just thought cardio-wise, like more is better.
You're making me want to run through a wall, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like sometimes, like from a physiology standpoint, it's like the stronger your heart and lungs are, the more blood you're pumping to the rest of your body. Like that's a win-win, you know.
When I was training for World Vets, it's like kind of the only time I've ever trained for a motocross race, and I wouldn't say I trained properly, but I did a lot of motos. I think I had it on my Garmin, so I did every moto that year with a Garmin. I think I had 72 20-minute motos for the year, which was good for me.
Yeah.
And I was running, and I was doing a lot of zone 2 running. Where I fucked up was I didn't do any interval stuff or high intensity, and I could actually feel that in the race. But I got to the point where I could just do a 20-minute moto at Glen Helen, super rough, and I could just do it. I wasn't sprinting. I wasn't like going super hard, but I could get through those better than I ever had. And
Yeah.
the running was massive, I will say. And I also think that maybe cycling, that's kind of like my next question is like cycling or running, but I feel like there was a certain level of stress adaptation that happened in my quads, particularly from running, to where I felt like I could kind of take the load of riding more because of the load that my legs were under when I was running.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that because so when I noticed this when I retired and started training for marathons, and then my brother, because he was actually going to do a marathon with me before the start.
Yeah, he bailed on you.
Yeah,
he raced the nationals, so he didn't have to
yeah, I'm like, yeah,
do
you
the
pussy.
marathon.
Yeah, little bro, he's a puss. It's coming for him though. But no, it was fun because it could have been like a Martin Brother showdown. You know, like I probably need 3 years of training just to get him in the first marathon. Seriously.
Really?
Like he's just a genetic freak. You know.
I was going to ask about that. Let's sidebar that. Let's go to that later. Yeah.
But so what were we talking about?
Running. You said after you started training for marathons.
Oh, yeah. So Jeremy was saying that he's like, dude, I feel like I can just stand all the time. Like I don't have the desire to sit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my legs, like I don't know if they have more energy or whatever. And like I kind of noticed the same thing. Like once I started increasing a lot of running, like I just didn't want to sit. You know, I felt like I could just stand longer. And it makes sense that would apply to the dirt bike.
Yeah, and I felt it a lot when I was doing that because I just never really run. Like I ran playing football and stuff like when I was a kid, but I never trained running. I always was one of those things where it's like I hate running. I'm not a runner, but I kind of got into it and I started to enjoy it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
But I just definitely felt stronger in my legs and that I could kind of take the impact of riding. And Sam Sunderland, do you know who Sam Sunderland is?
He's an off-road guy, right?
Yeah, Dakar guy. And I was in Dubai at the time when I first started running. And that's another reason too, is I didn't have a gym. We just moved to Dubai. We were like moving around, trying to figure it out. So I literally just went to the mall, bought a pair of shoes and was like, okay, I need to do something. And this is basically what I can do. And that also opened my eyes to just how great running is, because you can do it anyway. You just need a pair of shoes or not if you're training.
Yeah, the barrier of entry is so low.
Yeah.
You know. But that's actually a good point of like to answer your question earlier of running or cycling. Like I genuinely believe, like whatever you want to do, like you can be successful on the dirt bike. Like if you're a runner, a cyclist, if you do the skier, rower, kayaking. I mean, honestly, when I lived in Claremont, Florida, like I kayaked a lot. Like honestly, phenomenal upper body workout. And there's a lot of lakes around Claremont, and I would just go on the kayak for a couple hours. And I mean, dude, it's a great way to stack volume. You know, like when you start doing running and cycling, which is lower body cardio, and then you're adding in skier, rower, or kayaking, like it's a good way to kind of get both ends of the cardio spectrum, upper and lower body. But I genuinely feel like you can do whatever form of cardio you want, you can do it. But having said that, I think running is probably the most effective bang for your buck, you know, just being weight bearing. The problem is just people with their knees and ankles, you know, they're not always that good. But having said that, like, so when I retired, I remember I was at Millville and I was weed whacking, okay? Because that's just what the Martin brothers do at Millville, you know, upkeep of the facility.
Yeah, some big hills.
Yeah.
There's a lot
dude,
of grass.
Like we did a lot of weed whacking growing up. But yeah, I'm weed whacking side to side like this, and I can literally feel my knees like popping in and out. Like my knees were not good when I retired, and dude, after 3 years of running now, like between 50 to 60, 70 miles a week, like they're the best they've ever been. You know, so I don't know what that is, but I feel like if you don't use it, you lose it type of deal.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.